of Mackletons, it is PattyMac. Patrick PattyMac Mackleton, the first, I assume, but maybe not the last.
His opponent in the bottom left, playing from South Korea for the Shopify Rebellion. Her name is Scarlett.
And that is a situation where we've already seen some unpleasant results for the players playing from the far regions. Is a bit of a spoiler for Latin America if you didn't already know. So, plug your ears if you haven't already been paying attention. But if you haven't seen it by now, chances are you're probably not going to watch it if you're tuning into this. But if you haven't, I would recommend tuning in, particularly to the Kelazur versus Special series. The second one they fought, that was an amazing series. But what I'm building to here is to give you enough time to tune out if you're so blah, 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 or mute. Special did not win the region. It was his 13th in a row. He was going for number 14 in a row for Latin America across the WCS and DreamHack Masters regional setups. Cham actually beat him. And I think a big reason for that is, well, it has to do with the ping. Ping was certainly a disadvantage. Now, I actually think Cham just straight up outplayed Special, at least pretty hard in the first series. Don't know too much about how the second series exactly went. I've been casting just a crap ton over the course of things, but I mean, that's one thing where, it was an unexpected result, and ping definitely played a factor at minimum.
You talk about that, Steadfast. I'm going to throw something that's even a little bit nearer and dearer to this game right now. Scarlett played Nina last night in a marathon series, as we do see it's not going to be Stargate, as we see the Warp Gate get started. And an absolutely marathon series, win all 3 games. And game 3 in particular, we did see some of those South Korean ping effects. Scarlett was bathing in storms like she needed a bath, I guess. It was just... the storms were bad. And part of that is, of course, Storm is great against Hydras, but you could see that maybe her pullback micro on the Hydras to dodge the storms, not quite as good as she would like it to be. So... I think Nina is better in PvZ than PattyMac is. But we're going to have to see whether PattyMac can maybe look to abuse that as this game goes in the mid, goes late.
Yeah. We'll fix that metaphor for you. We're going to go, she stood in the storms like someone who doesn't have an umbrella. Or, it was didn't have the umbrella to get out of there. And it made things very difficult for her.
Well, actually, now, if you're in a thunderstorm, Steadfast, you don't want to stand in the rain with an umbrella, because that brings all the lightning down on your head.
Ah, fair enough. Okay, then she was carrying a steel pipe in a thunderstorm there. Oh, Lings, get in here. Oh my goodness. Not only does she pick off the Adept, she gets into the main base. We'll see that it is a Twilight Council. Sees the... Oh, wait, no, it's only 2 gates. No, it is a 3rd gate. I was going to say there is a 3rd gate for sure. Oh, gets 1 probe. She elects not to run into the natural with her other 2 Lings. Looks like she may have been, pushed away by the Stalkers. So PattyMac at least prevented additional units from getting on in. But Scarlett has seen exactly what this is. This is a PattyMac special. He goes for 3 gates. He gets a few Adepts early on, shades across the map, puts on some pressure, doesn't commit in, but builds towards Glaive Adepts in the future. Oh my God, PattyMac, he forgot. Look at his vision right now. He does not see the Zergling that's still in his main base.
Scarlett, she's just going to have a rescale whenever she wants. And this...
Whenever she wants.
I love this build. So, yes, this may be a PattyMac special. It's something we've also seen Zhao do, where you go Glaives, but it's 3-gate Glaives. It's not 4. And behind it, you get a 3rd base. It's very much the same idea where... when we had Blink Stalker all-ins versus Protoss, it was almost... You see Blink go down, it's like, okay... This is going to be a 4-gate Blink Stalker all-in, it's fine. And then players started to realize they can go 3-gate Blink Stalker, and it's not an all-in anymore, and they can get a 3rd base, and they just enable some pressure, and maybe you want to get something done, but you actually can get that 3rd base. It's a similar idea here, and I didn't expect this, but double Stargate behind this for PattyMac. Is this double Phoenix play, or does PattyMac have something else in store?
Oh, this is double Phoenix play. This is a PattyMac classic. In the lobby getting into it, Scarlett was saying PattyMac, he's got some builds. And, you know, that's why getting in with that Link Scout is such a huge deal, because he loves this 3-gate play, this 3-gate glaives with the non-committal into the quick third base. And he will go for the Stargate play with this very commonly. Ooh, now this is something that is a big wrinkle, and it could actually be a huge difference. Adepts, they are going to shade forward here. Rather surprising, right into the links around. Roaches do pop out in time to help deal with this. Scarlett is going to lose a few drones. She will pull the Lings into the main base, and it means she's going to lose a few more, but at least it's not going to be critical damage. 11 drones is decent, but not actually enough. I think I mean, it's an even-ish trade, still a little bit in favor of Scarlett. But if Scarlett were committing to a push behind us, this DT play would be phenomenal against this. It's DT adding on with the Phoenixes, because against the Phoenix play, you can go for a lot of Roach Ling and try and bust through, especially when the Adepts get sacrificed like that. But with Scarlett just playing defensively, I feel like this is an amazing position for her.
I would agree. Now, she doesn't know that this is double Phoenix play just yet, so we do not have the requisite spores. And actually, this is Steadfast. Are you a Brood War connoisseur?
Yes. Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Because this is Corsair. This is kind of Corsair DT from PattyMac, and Scarlett, for her, you talk about her playing defensively. Wait. Did she not build the Swarm Hosts? Okay, she had Swarm Hosts on the way, changed her mind, canceled them. And now she's going in Infest. She saw, okay, no, the Festers are for the Phoenix. Okay.
Yeah. That's very smart, very intelligent right here. She is adding on now Spores 3 at a time. So she did not realize what PattyMac was doing, but she does have the adjustment ready to go. PattyMac is going to lose. He keeps the Phoenixes alive just barely. Meanwhile, DT in the third base will get in here. We'll start picking away at some drones. That's pretty nice for PattyMac, but Scarlett is going to get in on top of this. 8 drones go down, not so bad. Ooh, Scarlett is going to leave one of the queens hanging, but she's got a lot of transfuse available. Will be able to save that, and PattyMac, I mean, his first shock has not done a lot. Interesting decision to go for Carapace here. That would be good if there was a big carrier follow-up. I don't think that's what we're going to be seeing. PattyMac, nice job, picks off that one queen that was left hanging.
PattyMac? Oh, go ahead.
I don't know about the Carapace. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, PattyMac is kind of playing like a Zerg. Not in how he is expanding across the map and maybe taking a ton of aces, but one of the ways that Zerg has traditionally beaten Protoss in particular has been showing one tech transitions all over the place. Back and forth, yes. Ping-ponging back. And that is what PattyMac is really kind of forcing out of Scarlett here. He shows the depths, she responds, but no, it's actually Phoenix play. He shows Phoenix, she responds. No, actually, it's going to be Disruptor Blink Stalker. It's just all over the place, and it's Scarlett, we can see her supply's in a good spot. She's on 94 drones despite the 15-20 workers that she's lost. But is she going to have the right supply? And I don't know that she's there just yet. Infestors, Fungals can be good against Blink Stalkers, but there's just not a lot that adds on to the damage. There is no, as you mentioned, Carapace does not mean that your Lings fight any better. There's nothing that really will kill these Stalkers once they are fungled.
No, there isn't. But if she manages to get some Burrow Neural Parasite play on some of her opponent's big power units on these Archons, if she's able to figure out, you know, maybe she sneaks up on a Disruptor, we could be looking at one of the biggest, just chef's kiss plays. I am so excited for what these burrowed Neural Parasite Infestors could do. We do have an Observer that is looking at the creep. Scarlett, of course, knows that is a thing, so she's going to be careful. She's probably not going to use these aggressively, but she did build a lot of roaches there. I think she was thinking PattyMac might have gone for an attack. Oh, Fungal Grove does catch 4 of the Phoenix. Will be able to kill at least 3 of them. Does reveal the Infestors, but that's a pretty effective reveal right there.
And almost equally as important, Scarlett gets the scout through the main base and the natural. I don't know that she necessarily saw... No, yeah, she did see the robos, certainly not with that changeling. So she knows what she's up against now. And it seems like she's really just taking everything. The creep spread, now that she has some space, is starting, and she can put her queens on the map, is really starting to expand. She's got her Hydra Den halfway done, Aspire just about done, on 5 bases, double upgrades. The world really now is Scarlett's oyster, and we have to see if PattyMac can look to crunch on through. His army right now can be good. But as we see the Greater Spire complete, as the Broodlords start to hit the field, so the Lurkers start to hit the field, this army from PattyMac is going to be horrible. Broodlords against Disruptors are great. Stalkers do not want to blink on top because there will be Lurkers. He needs to hit now, and he is active on the map.
He is active on the map, but he also has to be careful that he doesn't get mass knurled. If those Disruptors get knurled and get turned on the army, this is going to be one of the more one-sided fights we see. She will just go for the Archon here. Corrosive Biles it. Ooh, Disruptor shot does actually kill the neural parasited unit, but a couple of those spine crawlers are going to find one of the Disruptors. Almost gets another one here. And attacking into this many spine crawlers, this is a very rare situation where mass spine actually is so good against the Protoss army. The Disruptors are going to be able to slowly chip away at it, but you have to leave them a little bit exposed to do so, which means that they could be corrosive bile down, they could be neural parasited or fungled. The Archons are very neuralable and fungalable. We are going to see the Disruptors trying to come on in. They do get a couple of units, but not enough. And Scarlett is taking some very nice defensive trades. Her spines on the bottom side have deflected already one big Zealot run by. She is in a phenomenal position, and she really knows the ins and outs of how PattyMac is playing this.
You know, Steadfast, I'm a little disappointed because I feel like a couple of those Disruptors were very much neuralable. And, you know, I just need that in my life. But for right now, you're right. She's doing a great job. 7 Broodlords are on the way, though. And that is 21 supply that Scarlett has that she cannot use big shot, actually, on a lot of the Queens. But not enough to kill them just yet. Now, Seeker Missile there with the Disruptors on the Infestors on the back line. Again, another Infestor, though. Oh, actually, no. Scarlett lets it run away. Does not run it back to her army so she can kill it. Even still, I feel like she's bought enough time because now the Broodlords are out. The Stalkers will not blink on top of this because, well, Fungal are there. Oh, big Disruptor shot again, actually. But the base is now dead from PattyMac. Nice job.
Oh, goodness.
But is that enough?
The Disruptors were actually so effective during that fight. The Broodlords really didn't zone them out effectively at all. Scarlett, it feels like there must have been like 15 or 20 Zealots because that ripped through like 11 spine crawlers or something. 18 Zealots went down during the battle board, and I don't think I saw any on the with the main army. So Scarlett fortunately had enough to deal with it on the right side, but she did not take the greatest fight on her side. We are going to see Zealots coming in on the left side. The base went down. Spines are starting to fall. PattyMac has a bank. Scarlett does not. Scarlett is struggling in this game number 1.
Now, she really is. And importantly, Broodlords are not units that you can defend multiple positions with. They are slow. Whoa. They're slower than molasses. So PattyMac is doing such a good job here of ripping Scarlett apart. Forcing the Broodlords north, forcing the Broodlords south, making it so hard as he dodges a fungal with the blink. Well done there, PattyMac. But he's making it so hard for Scarlett to realize, to figure out where exactly her army needs to be, because the Broodlords need to be prepared to deal, and another fungal dodged, need to be prepared to deal with the main thrust of PattyMac's army. And PattyMac is not showing Scarlett where that is.
No, he is not. And something else PattyMac is doing that is going to set him up very nicely for the late game is this carrier transition. He's already got +1 air. No +2 air on the way just yet. He is on double cybernetics core, so he just needs to fire that up on the one at the natural. He does have Storm on the way. He's got +1 shields, Mothership as well. He's cleared out a lot of creep. But we do have to mention that Scarlett already has her own +1 attack. Nice fungal growth, does connect this time. Barely dodging the Disruptor shot. Another one will connect. Gets a couple of units. Corrosive Biles do come on in. The Spore Crawlers take out one of the observers. Oh, that's a huge Disruptor shot. And the Broodlords are once again slow to respond. You mentioned it. You hit the nail on the head. It takes so long. And look at how much Scarlett is committed to the defense on this 5th base because of the run-bys from PattyMac. Oh, now the Fungal Growth will catch 4 Disruptors. I think you just recall. I think you just recall to save those. And if you don't, well, he's accepted. They're just all going to go down.
I mean, at this point, okay, Carry Disruptor Storm is fantastic, but this may just be a situation where PattyMac, he got a lot of damage with those Disruptors. He killed a base. He's lost a lot of Zealots to Lurkers and Spines, but he got a base. He got a lot of other stuff. He killed off a decent amount of Roaches, Ravagers, and Infestors. Maybe the time of the Disruptor for PattyMac's composition that he's going for right now is ended. He wants more supply for High Templar and Curious, but as I say that, okay, no, he does want some more Disruptors. So there is my useless justification of losing 4 Disruptors. We're going to ignore that.
Yeah, no, I think I think maybe he wasn't looking or something, or maybe he just had like a bit of a brain fart and was like, no, I don't need those disruptors. I'll just let him die. I'm going to replop on carriers. And then he was like, wait a minute, I only have like one disruptor left. I should probably rebuild a couple of those. And it happens. Scarlett, though, she is a little bit late to respond to this carrier transition. There are so many carriers here. The Broodlords are out. Fungal Growth does connect on the whole army, but there are so many carriers. No Corruptors. The Vipers don't have energy just yet. Fungal Growth will catch all the High Templar. Not a single storm goes off. Every single carrier is fungled, but doesn't even matter. Neural Parasites are going to come on in. There is an Observer here. Scarlett, it could target it with these spores, but she doesn't have the ability to do so. That means the Infestors do go down. I think PattyMac's just going to kill her right here. There's nothing that deals with these carriers.
There is, well, I guess there's almost literally no anti-air on the map for Scarlett right now. She's got, what, 9 Corruptors against 9 1-1 carries. Yeah, good luck on that one. All the Broodlords are going down, and Scarlett briefly had a beautiful bank, but it is getting annihilated. Good abduct there, but there's a mothership, and it joins right on forward. Viper dies, Corruptor's trying to dive on top. We see the Loco maneuver, trying to make something out of nothing here. Are the Interceptors going to pop in time? It looks like no. The answer is absolutely not. Plenty of Interceptors remain on the map, still 40 of them, and Scarlett is knocked down. Game 1 goes the way of PattyMac.
Wow, he put so much pressure on Scarlett. He kept her occupied for an ungodly amount of time right there. She was just struggling to answer everything, and you could see she was getting ready for that carrier transition. She was getting the Spore Crawlers up at all of her bases. She had her Vipers on the way. She was starting to build Corruptors even as the push came in. But even with an engagement that honestly went disastrously for PattyMac, he lost literally every single High Templar without casting a single storm. He got a couple of his carriers knurled. The whole army, not just the carriers, the High Templar, the Stalkers, and the carriers all got mass fungled. If there is any parasitic bomb with that, if there is any number of spores, if there is 15 Corruptors out to deal with that, Scarlett kills that army so damn hard. And I think the big one is the parasitic bomb.
You know, Steadfast, you say that. I would agree if there were enough Corruptors to dive on top. And we saw him we saw Scarlett try to do that at the very end. We saw her try to do that. But by that point, there were not enough Corruptors to soak enough to buy the time for the parasitic bomb to kill all the Interceptors. And earlier in the fight, by the time that fungal hit, all the Interceptors were already out. So the Interceptors, you can just shift click them around things as the parasitic bomb hits there, and carriers have insane HP. So yeah, parasitic bomb, it maybe strips the shields away, but it doesn't kill the Interceptors unless they are sitting there on top of where the parasitic bomb is. So I agree. If you get that out earlier in the fight and you get parasitic bomb to clean it up and Corruptors to dive on top, but otherwise, really the story there was just the anti-air was not where it needed to be.
It wasn't ready yet. It was not ready yet. What I'm referring to is actually the fact that the carriers were so stacked up for like 10 seconds. If she gets 2 full duration parasitic bombs, that's 120 damage a pop. Every single carrier is getting hit by that. She gets 2 of those. It's 240 damage. Then when the Corruptors pop out, she just comes in and like one taps every carrier.
That's fair. I don't think that I don't think
it almost never happens. You never see the carriers actually die, but because of how stacked up they were, like the fungal growths, she got like 4 full duration fungals, almost completely ripped the shields off. We could talk about this all day, but we got to get into game number 2. Either way, she was about 30 seconds, 45 seconds away from being fully prepared for that push. Didn't happen though, and now she has to go into game number 2 down 1-0. Can she turn it around? Spotting up at the top left for the Shopify Rebellion. She is the Canadian Queen of Blades. It is Scarlett.
In at the bottom right, the 1-0 leader in this series, looking to give us a second insane PvZ upsets in DreamHack North America. For the Darklings, it's PattyMac.
And I see a question in the chat wondering what the Loco maneuver is. It is a pull first, by the way, from Scarlett, and a relatively quick gas. So we'll get into the nitty-gritty of this build, and we'll be paying attention to see if there is some kind of aggressive play from Scarlett. She Does start mining with 2 drones on gas. No indication yet of what she's doing. Only 2 lings on the field. PattyMac did respond with a gate cyber, so he's responding appropriately so that he doesn't just straight up die. But Scarlett might just try and go for a quick scout. So the Loco maneuver. Why don't you explain it to the people watching? I'm sure a lot of people know what it is. Obviously, I know what it is as well, but since you brought it up, explain it to us what the Loco maneuver is.
So the Loco maneuver is something that was discovered by Loco actually on his stream, I think two years ago, during the height of this mass carrier meta, where he kind of realized that parasitic bombs pop the interceptors, but you could never get a parasitic bomb on top of the interceptors properly. So you drop a parasitic bomb on top of the carriers, and then you don't even really necessarily have to fight. But you move command your corruptors on top of where the carriers are, where you actually move them on top of where the parasitic bombed carrier is. And then they just fight under there. You're shift clicking carriers down. But I forget exactly how long it takes. It's less than the duration of one parasitic bomb, and it just pops every single interceptor that is within the range of that parasitic bomb. And suddenly you have carriers that are worth nothing because they don't have any. They don't have any interceptors. And it's a great way to deal with an unsupported Skytoss army. If there are corruptors below, if there are storms, it's a different story. But if it's just carriers, kind of like as that situation was, it allows you to really make the carriers empty supply.
It certainly does. And to answer your question, the parasitic bomb deals 120 damage over 7 seconds to enemy air units. And the carriers, or rather the interceptors, have 40 HP and 40 shields. Now, you can never see that, but the math is very simple. 80 is less than 120, so it probably takes about 4 to 5 seconds for them to pop, depending on how many ticks and when they go off. But the big deal is that the parasitic bomb absolutely annihilates the interceptors. That is the big deal about that. Now, Scarlett, she doesn't really get too much done with this. PattyMac electing once again to go for his 3-gate opener. Ooh, tries to keep the probe alive. Not able to do so, but he does take a pretty heavy toll on Scarlett's lings. 7 lings go down, and these adepts just on their own are going to be a little bit of a nuisance here. Scarlett's, I mean, PattyMac should never commit forward with the shade, but it's already forced out a lot of units. Oh my goodness, he is going to shade forward. Okay, that was a mistake. That was a big mistake right there. He is only going to lose 1 adept, but he loses a lot of HP on those, really for, like, no gain. He just, Scarlett committed to a lot of lings, and he just justified the cost of those lings now.
No, absolutely. The question, though, is whether Scarlett will be able to get a cancel on this 3rd base, which is really the end goal after committing so much to it. But even as these adepts take damage, even as one of them does go down, as PattyMac continues to warp in adepts, which, of course, maybe something he actually built a decent amount of depths for the glaive timing anyways. It does mean that PattyMac will be able to keep this 3rd base alive. And Scarlett, she has to build more lings now. She has to build roaches. And remember, despite Scarlett handling it fairly well in game number 1, she still lost, what was it, 11 workers, something like that. She still lost a significant amount and about 22 lings. So she needs to do a little bit better this time.
Ironically, PattyMac probably could have shaded forward this time. He didn't have Glaive Adepts done quite yet. There was still about 10 seconds before it was finished. But now it does finish up. He will pick the fight against these queens. Yeah, just cancel the shades. You're going to kill all 4 of these queens right here. Scarlett is in some big trouble. She will get in with the lings and save the rest of these queens, but these adepts have nearly already paid for themselves. They're going to gut these lings, and once again, he canceled the shade, kills every single ling, 25 lings and 3 queens for 6 adepts. When Scarlett had to build a lot of units defensively and her drone count has been cut into significantly, she still has to build units defensively. This is so good for PattyMac right now.
So the question, Steadfast, we ask ourselves now is it's not going to be double Stargate. That much we know. It's going to be Blink and +1 on the way from PattyMac. Behind this, kind of leaning more into the established meta of PvZ. But PattyMac has shown us that whatever tech he's actually building or whatever he's showing us right now is not what his end goal is. Seems like he's always thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead. Is it just going to be a bunch of +1 Blink Stalkers, or where does he go from here?
It should be. This should just transition basically into the hero style. Now, he did get 3 sentries. I'm honestly not sure what those were for. With Trigger, I'm pretty familiar with his PvZ, so I know that he loves to go into the, Colossus follow-up. PattyMac, I'm not too sure what his intention is with these. He is warping in more stalkers. He is going to have Blink pretty soon. Now, he's got to be a little bit careful right here. These units are rather committed onto Scarlett's side of the map. Oh, PattyMac, no. Why did we go in like this? He pushes so far onto creep. He is going to have to use up all of his force fields. Blink is still not done. Scarlett is moving forward into this. Takes down the pylon. PattyMac, is he just going to do a 3-base all-in with this? He's not building probes. No additional gases, no 4th base. Yeah, I think he's just going to heavily commit with these Blink Stalkers and this small number of sentries left over.
He does have +1 done. He's blinked in about 10, 12 seconds. And remember, Stalkers are fantastic against Roaches. The bonus damage they do is one of the reasons why this started to become so popular. Zergs couldn't really tech into an army that dealt with this super well as he moves forward, knocks a Ravager down. So as long as PattyMac is going to be able to start to knock these Ravagers down, knock these Roaches down, establish this position really outside of Scarlett's 3rd base, it's going to be nice for him. But Scarlett's got a Ling run by into the 3rd base, and it will force a warp in back at home. Shield Battery Overcharge actually preventing a lot of this damage, but it's distracting PattyMac on the other side of the map. That being said, 1 Queen will fall, 2nd Queen. No, oh, yeah, there it is. Finally going down as PattyMac probably going to have to wholesale blink backwards out of this one. He moves commands. That's the micro from PattyMac here on these Stalkers is not quite as nice as we would like to see it. Oh, he just ate some big bile too.
Yeah, and it's important to note that there is no robotics facility, no Stargate, so there's no detection to clear creep. So this creep spread for Scarlett is permanent. Also, a lot of those force fields were used earlier on, so Scarlett is... She doesn't have to worry as much about the force fields. We see these force fields do trap a couple of Roaches, but it's not enough to fully trap them in. She doesn't even escape out with a few of them. She's still getting decent trades defensively. She's got her own +1 missile. She's got +2 missile on the way. Hydra's coming on down, so she is advancing her tech, even while holding off this scary attack. The Concave is still decent for Scarlett defensively. PattyMac is starting to transition out of this. He is getting into his own +2 attack, his own charge, his own 4th base, but he did not get what he was looking for, I think, with this. I think this has been a totally fine defense for Scarlett. Ooh, even eats a bit of corrosive bile, losing 1 and then another Stalker on the bottom side. Scarlett has stabilized, and I don't think PattyMac should keep pushing here.
I swear I see a lot of these Stalker pushes, though, that seem like the Zerg is holding, the Zerg is holding, the Zerg is building supply, and it seems really great. And then eventually the Stalkers hit +2, for example, and they just start to push through. I don't know that that's going to be in this game. PattyMac, his Blink Stalker micro seems to be lacking just enough. I don't know if we're on West, for example. Maybe this is a bit better, a bit worse for PattyMac. But the run by doesn't get much done here. PattyMac again runs forward, and he can't press too far forward onto creep. But he is trading decently well. +2 is done in 10 seconds, steadfast. But the big deal is the fact that Scarlett has her infestation pit on the way, and more importantly, there will be that lurker den, and with no detection, no robo on the map for PattyMac, that is not the best situation to find yourself in. Lurkers versus no detection, and with only Stalkers, that doesn't feel good.
No, it does not. Now, we do have to mention that part of the reason why this was going not as well for PattyMac is that his Stalker retention was not good. And since I said it's starting to fall, or starting to not go well, actually, I just jinxed it again. He has only lost 3 Stalkers since that happened. There's only Ravagers left over for Scarlett. She is starting to have a little bit of trouble defending, but the Roaches on the other side of the map are coming on in. They are going to be able to take down a couple of units, forces a big defensive warp in, which will slow down the aggressive momentum, give her more time to find these lurkers on the field. Oh, corrosive biles landing again. PattyMac, once again, the fact that this creep has been here this whole time is so helpful for Scarlett.
You know, Steadfast, the one thing I got to point out there is it looks like those vials actually equalized resources lost. The gap in supply has started to shrink. It's been about 30, it's been about 40 in terms of army supply, really since this pressure has been happening. But as you mentioned, PattyMac only really losing 3 until he lost a lot. That's a big commitment of Roach's left side, but it looks like Scarlett rethinking things. Roaches are going to join this army once again.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like the idea of maybe 10 Roaches counterattacking, but that many leaves are very exposed. Very aggressive blink forward coming in from PattyMac. Oh, it's the charge lot run by on the other side. Huge blink coming on in. Now that does expose PattyMac. The corrosive vials take out 2 Stalkers right there. Zealots are going to get dealt with on the other side. Scarlett is able to weather a scary moment from PattyMac, and now her first lurker morphs on in. PattyMac is going to lose all of his Stalkers on this left side. He's almost got +1 armor, which is going to give him a small upgrade lead, but Scarlett has her +2 missile. If she just adds on literally 1 lurker at a time, that's still fine. Another corrosive bile lands home, takes out the shields on a couple of Stalkers. He is doing much better with Stalker retention, but he has lost 45 Stalkers in this game. And that is too many.
Sorry, yeah, he was doing a great job with Stalker retention until the last minute or so, where he goes, he tried to make the multi-prong happen. He's eaten so many biles. I think really if he dodged all the biles of that last fight, he probably would have been able to win the game right there, but he ate massive shots on the backside. And yeah, the Stalker retention was great through the mid game, but that position where he thought he was going to break Scarlett, I think he just went a little too hard, a little bit too far forward, and he got too excited, right? Oh, I'm going to 2-0 Scarlett. And that meant that he lost a lot of Stalkers, and now Scarlett is up almost 70 supply with Lurkers on the field. I don't see PattyMac really ever taking a cost-effective trade, at least not until the Disruptors are out.
No, and the units are not in position here. He is going to recall back home. How much army does he have? I actually don't know if he's got enough to take the fight against this number of roaches. The Cybernetics core will go down. If Scarlett can deny these robos, she can prevent the Disruptors from hitting the field. She will depower them. Tasteless and Artosis not able to keep those alive. The Tasteless pylon this time just didn't cut it. We are going to see the Stalkers blinking back, and the Zealot Warband should be enough to hold this. But on the other side of the map, Scarlett has pushed back another little aggressive move. Oh, that's a lot of charge loss, though. And these Ravagers are rather squishy, but she pulls back to the safety of the Lurkers. Good defense from PattyMac, so he doesn't fall apart. And actually, that ends up being a lot of lost roaches for Scarlett. This game is still very much in flux, especially with those Disruptors now coming out 2x2.
Big point also, there is finally detection. So PattyMac, where he chooses to be aggressive, he can knock creep spread down. He can actually find these Lurkers. Although, in fairness, as Hydras are also on the field and as observers get added, or overseers get added, the Hydra's only goal in these upcoming fights will be to snipe the observer down, so the Lurkers can just absolutely free fire. But we've seen PattyMac be incredibly effective with his harass across this series. Scarlett is locking this down, and most importantly, she's not locking it down with 7-8 Lurkers, or really her entire Lurker count. It's 1 or 2, and it's the Spines, because PattyMac does not have the money to really just print Zealots. Not yet, at least. So Scarlett, she's much more comfortable in her position. It means she can have more Lurkers in this army, and now she does go aggressive, at least to the edge of creep.
That she does. She's got to be a little bit careful right here because the watchtower is held by PattyMac. PattyMac, oh, he pulled his probes to deal with a bit of harass. Okay, there we go. He was a little bit slow to put them back on, but they are back to work now. He is only on 65 probes, despite the fact that he's on 5 Nexi. And like you said, that makes it so that the Zealot printer cannot go burr. It's more like the Zealot printer goes burr.
Yeah, you know, it's the whole situation where you go and you have full ink on every cartridge, but like cyan. Oh, it only gets 1. That was actually going to be so much worse. Yeah, PattyMac's Zealot printer is missing cyan. Everything else is fully operational, but it just the printer's not allowing to print as much as he wants. These Zealots will die on the left side. Lurkers burr up on the right. PattyMac trying to sit out of the way of things. And Disruptor shots. No, this is what we needed to see when we're talking about that Echo series. You just get Vipers, and they prevent Disruptor. They prevent Robo units from existing.
That they do, and well, there were High Templar here to try and feed back these units. 11 drones did fall for Scarlett, so it's not like she got it there scot-free, but PattyMac really can't just attack in here anymore. There are 2 Disruptors far in the back. The Vipers, there's not even enough feedbacks to actually deny all of them from being able to abduct those Disruptors. Now, though, with two more Disruptors showing up, I'm surprised Scarlett doesn't have the Lurkers, like, set up on the low ground. There we go. Couple of abducts coming on in. We'll be able to grab some of those expensive and juicy Archons. And Scarlett's cost efficiency is starting to get pretty nice in this game. Disruptors. Oh, wow. Wait, what? One of the Disruptors died. Okay, I was like, wow, I see 2 Purification Novas just hit a Lurker, but nope, not going to be the case. Nice abducts right there on the High Templar. 1 feedback comes in after the fact, and it doesn't even do anything because the Viper had already used its energy. Yeah, Scarlett has taken full control of this game, number 2. There should be... I mean, PattyMac's still on 5 bases, and he's getting up into carriers, but Scarlett, from this position, it's very rare to see her lose a game like this.
I mean, you say that. Scarlett kind of got into a similar... I mean, I think PattyMac was in a better spot in game 1, but Scarlett kind of got herself into a similar position in game 1 where she was turtle up on 4 to 5 bases. PattyMac's aggression was not super effective until it suddenly was, and he got himself up to carrier tech, and Scarlett's transition was just a little bit too slow. But Disruptor Shot goes out. Good abduct there. Oh, he gets the abduct. She gets the abduct in the last second. That was almost going to be the juiciest shot we've seen in quite a while. But now there she goes. She abducts the High Templar as well. And with how many High Templar that PattyMac has made this game, I'm kind of surprised to not see Storm researched. But I guess he just doesn't think he can afford it.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised to not see feedback getting casted right here, but Scarlett has picked his pocket 6 times. 6 times High Templar have been abducted and killed off. And that should just never be happening. You should just never allow the abduct to come on in. 1 High Templar, it happens. You can't always be looking. But you cannot let the Zerg opponent get away with abducting 3 High Templar that are ready to feedback. And that is just a matter of Scarlett, I mean, being a little bit better at the multitasking here. PattyMac, he's made some great plays, and he's honestly... he was in a pretty good position, and there was maybe some opportunities with Perfect Link Micro. Actually, no, with Perfect Link Micro, there was absolutely an opportunity to win this game. But now it is Scarlett in firm control. She's into the late game, which is... it seems like it's not as strong for PattyMac here. He's still playing pretty well, but he just doesn't quite have that control and multitasking needed to pull this off against Scarlett.
One thing I want to point out, by the way, is Scarlett, she has +1 Carapace done, +2 is on the way. So unlike last game, where Scarlett just didn't have an answer to the carriers, which meant PattyMac won the game, Hydra's actually with 3-2. When it's only +1 carriers, only +1 interceptors, and this Storm is not yet complete, they fight interceptors fairly well, as long as they don't just eat massive storms and disruptor shots or something. So Scarlett is in a much better position, even as her Spire's only halfway done. That Lurker... okay, we're fine. High
Templar. It got 1. It almost got another. This Lurker on the top side, my goodness, it's gotten so many probe kills. It bruised up so many Zealots. And finally, there we go, as PattyMac Supply just